Yeah. All right.
Right.
Welcome, ladies. Thank
Welcome,
you.
everyone.
Sharon. Oh, we found out somebody is staying. Thank you, Sharon, for being. Yeah, you can just. Thank you, Sharon, for being here. This is a dream of mine to do for quite a while, and I roped Natalie into coming to help me to do Menopause Mondays in May. That we can talk about menopause, and we're so thrilled to have you here to talk.
I'm not here.
Come again?
What happened?
Is that Susan?
There. She muted.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
So, yeah, so we definitely wanted to start with you, Cher, today, because I think that on this journey of menopause, we know how much you have helped me so much with meditation. I never did meditation before, talking with you and learning from you. And of course, yoga, which I'm still trying to embrace more in my life. But it is definitely, the meditation has been a huge thing for me in just being able to navigate this whole menopause journey. So we're so thrilled that you could come and talk to us about how yoga and meditation can empower us, how can, just activate all of our senses and just get us through this turbulent stage of our lives. So,
Yep. And if I could just add to that, when you talk about turbulent stage of life, my greatest challenge, and maybe you can address this at some point as well, when it comes to meditation, I love how I feel when I meditate. But I just don't seem to find the time to meditate.
exactly.
We can address that. Address that.
So over to you, Sharon.
All right. So you want to start with you want to lead the questions, Nikki, and I'll yeah.
So we're talking about yoga and meditation and basically how each of them can help us through the hot flashes, through the mental anguish, through the anxiety, all of that stuff that we go through. How does each one help us bring us down?
Good. So first of all, just let me introduce myself. My name is Sharon Feanny. I'm based here in Kingston, Jamaica, as well as Nikki and Natalie. I've been a yoga instructor in Jamaica for the last too many years, decades, and more recently a meditation teacher as well. I'm also a health coach and the author of the Live Fit Kitchen cookbook. And all that's a lot, but my main job is wife and mom of three children. So I, like all of you, I'm juggling many, many hats all the time. So I'm happy to have you here and I'm happy to share my knowledge. And first of all, I will start by saying that I did not think, and I really, truly believe this, that people who did yoga and meditated got menopause, right? I'm like, that does not happen to me. Well, talk about the biggest smackdown of my life when at age 50, exactly at age 50, my periods had stopped. I was that oblivious that I literally thought, maybe I'm pregnant, right? I just didn't believe, so people would, and I had one more little insight, like people would come to my retreats and my yoga classes and they'd be, I started teaching yoga in my 30s. So women in their 50s, 60s would come to the class and they would be like, oh my God, I'm just going through so much with menopause. And I'd be like, slap. Let's just drink some more green juice, clean up your diet, yoga, meditation, you'll be fine. Well, I got the biggest slap in my face. So at 50, when I went into full-blown menopause, what had happened to me is I would like to say I was in the pinnacle of my career between 45 and 50. I had sort of found this niche. I was taking women, small groups of women between, 10 and 20 women on a 7-day yoga detox and meditation journey. I was teaching it out of my home. I was living in Bay at the time. And then I started to become like this road show, and I would take this whole program around through Jamaica and abroad and host yoga, meditation, and detox programs where I was actually cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner and all snacks for the program as well. So I was so into it and working so hard like many of you, I was ignoring or pretending they weren't happening, all the symptoms of pre-menopause that had started at around 45. So around 45, I started to experience changes in my skin, weight gain, then later on, the more extreme, right? The first thing was the anxiety, which had never happened in my life. So started feeling my heart racing all the time. Like, what is this? Went to the doctor. Oh, you're fine. Nobody thought to talk about, the changes in your metabolism and your hormone levels. So I was just continuing working super hard. Then came the sleeplessness at night. Then came the night sweats. And it was just like, I was like, okay, there's something going on. And finally, I took myself to a gynecologist. Finally, I got my hormone levels tested and read, and I was told I was in full-blown menopause. In between that 45 to 50 years of ignoring all the symptoms and trying to push through, because I was at the height of my career serving people so much, I literally physically and mentally burnt myself out. And I don't want that to happen to any of you. So the question was, the first question, Nikki, was, I just wanted to give some context. The first question was exactly what?
So how did the yoga and the meditation help us through all of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since it didn't prevent it from happening.
Prevent it, right? Because, sometimes doctors ignore their own medicine. I was so busy pouring my heart out to everyone else. I really wasn't taking a lot of time for me. I was teaching yoga and meditation a lot, but not really understanding that I needed to sort of pull back a little bit and really start to practice radical self-care. I had to learn it later in life, so I'm helping you guys now, all right? So, sorry, we're having major breeze here. So I literally had to take a pause in that 50th year. I had to stop everything. The anxiety was through the roof. The sleeplessness was contributing to the anxiety. And I was able to take, about 6 months off, really understand, okay, you're in menopause, read everything that I could do. Yoga and meditation were one part of it, but I also had to start to pay very big attention to rest. So sleep became so important. That was when I first started using CBD as an aid for sleep. Because I just could not sleep at night. And that was a really big game changer to start to regulate my sleep. Then I decided with the anxiety to really double down and dive deep into my meditation practice. And that led me to become a meditation instructor later on. I had not been certified as a meditation teacher, but that led me. And it was the daily discipline that I instilled in my heart and my soul when I turned 50, to get up every single morning, no matter what. I don't look at the phone or what anybody else is doing. Of course, I will do a quick sneak check on WhatsApp. There is nothing from my kids, but whatever else it is can wait. And I start my day with a 20-minute meditation. What this does is help me to quiet the mind, quiet the reactivity to everybody else's needs, and give my central nervous system a moment to deregulate, to downregulate, to drop out of the thinking center. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. You can't sleep, you wake up, you're thinking about 1,000 things, your heart is racing, you have so much to do. That 20 minutes of dropping out of the mind, the thinking center, and into the heart, where you're able to not just feel things more deeply, but be able to observe your thoughts and realize that you're not all these thoughts, and then go even deeper into your being center and just giving yourself 15 to 20, if you can only do 5 minutes a day, 5, 10, 15, 20, to sit and just be with yourself, your soul. They say that everybody in the world should meditate for at least 20 minutes a day because of all the incredible benefits that meditation has. But they say busy people should meditate even more. So when people tell me they're so busy, right? You are the people, the busy people, the women that are wearing all of these hats. You're caretakers, you're householders, you have children, you have businesses, you have jobs, you're multitasking, multi-doing. You need this time more than anybody. What that was able to do for me was to cut down or cut back on cut out the anxiety that I was feeling. So I was able to make more sensible decisions and just be more present. It also, I believe, had a tremendous effect on my hormonal system and just bringing everything back into balance. So there was meditation. Now, I also practice yoga. I've been practicing yoga most of my life. But what I found in this time that it was more restorative yoga that my body needed rather than what I was used to, which is like power yoga and very strenuous yoga. So for that next 5 years, it was restorative yoga, more and more concentration and dedication to serious sleep and 8 hours of sleep at night. I was one of those that prided myself on how little sleep I had. And then waking up every day and committing to myself first before committing to anybody else. So all of those things, including with changes that I had made with my diet, really helped me to manage that menopause smackdown that happened at 50.
That's amazing.
So what I'm hearing a lot from you is that the yoga and meditation are going to help with restoring some balance, reducing the anxiety, improving sleep, and as a result, when we start to settle down the hormones that are responsible for that, there'll be a spillover into the other hormones. So we're really kind of rebalancing with yoga and meditation.
It's a beautiful cascading effect on all the systems in the body, your nervous system, your hormonal system. I definitely think it's better for your heart. Most of us with cholesterol, with menopause, our cholesterol spikes, and we're not even aware of it. So of course, meditation not just helps with your mind, it also helps with your heart health. So it's amazing for mental health, but your heart health. So I was able to even see my cholesterol levels come down because of that.
That's really,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
It's really
So you mentioned restorative yoga.
Yes.
So can you tell us briefly, like if we just go to a yoga class, like I see a exercise class on an exercise schedule and it says yoga. How do I know what I'm getting? What are the different types of yoga, and why is what's special about restorative, and how do I know I'm going to get a restorative class?
Well, you'll have to ask, but restorative yoga is actually the fastest growing style of yoga that we have right now. Like everybody needs it. There's no one person in the world right now, I think, that's not stressed out and is in a need of more poses or more things that help them to calm the nervous system. So restorative yoga, we maybe in 1 hour we'll do 5 poses. We spend extended period of time in each pose with deep, profoundly deep, repetitive breathing. That helps again to just bring the nervous system down, regulate. It helps with flexibility, mobility, and it's more of a peaceful yoga. Now, I enjoy all types of yoga, and if you can't find a restorative yoga class in your area, yoga in itself, whatever form it takes, what yoga does, the word yoga means union. So what that means is union of your body, your mind, your body, your mind, and your soul through the vehicle of the breath. Everything becomes united. So most of us, especially when we're experiencing menopause, I mean, we are so disconnected. Our brain is going crazy. so disconnected from the body, and Lord knows where the soul is floating away, because you feel disconnected actually from who you even are. I mean, I don't know if anybody can put their hands up in here who like they feel like a different person, like you're not even the same person. You're like this crazy pants person, right? So what yoga, no matter what style you take, you do, if you're led by an experienced teacher, you'll be able to come into that sense of oneness and that sense of who you truly are, right? Without all these metabolic changes that are going on in your body. And that in itself is healing.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. So I have a question. If we are not even perimenopausal, or we are perimenopausal, so we haven't gotten into the state and we're getting some little symptoms, is it beneficial to start earlier, or like is it too late if I'm already in full-blown menopause and I'm having, does the timing matter, or the time is now?
It's never too late to start yoga. That is one thing, never too late. It is such a gift. It's a never-ending gift that you will have for your life. It will keep you strong, flexible. It will, again, help you to make that mind-body connection. It changes everything, but it's never, ever too late to start. But there are a couple of other things that I think, so if you do, I think it's imperative, if you even have this, like Dion, we spoke about this many, many times, many years. If you're beginning to feel these symptoms, and normally these symptoms will be happening in the late 40s, mid 50s, right? Younger and younger women are experiencing menopausal symptoms because of the, just how much endocrine inhibitors we're exposed to, how much things we're actually putting into our physical body or on our body or inhaling in the air that are actually messing up our hormones and throwing us into early menopause. I mean, this is scientifically proved that the menopause is starting so much earlier. So my first advice is go to a doctor who is experienced in this, get your levels tested. And if you are anywhere on that spectrum of just beginning to see your estrogen drop, or whatever, you get it analyzed, I want to say to all of you, start taking radical self-care, because when you actually get to full-blown menopause, if you don't have in your habitual lifestyle this self-care practices of getting enough sleep, hydrating your body, clearing your mind every morning with meditation, yoga, if you can, like 2 days a week, if you can. I'm not saying yoga every day, because I believe in other types of exercises. And I want to say the most important type of exercise that you should be beginning in your 30s at least is strength training.
Yes.
So for every year past 40, we lose 3 pounds of
muscle
we
mass.
lose 3 pounds of muscle mass. And if we're not doing resistance training, we can gain up to 1 pound of fat. So just think, from 30 to 40, if we're not adding our weights, we could end up being 10 pounds heavier when we turn 40. Because we need to keep as much muscle tone as possible. And after you turn 30, your muscle mass starts that steady decline down. So I didn't learn this, by the way, till I was 40. I never picked up a weight, but thank God, when I was 40 and pregnant, my doctor, who is also very good at hormones, said to me, no more running and cycling and those kinds of things. You're 40 years old and you're pregnant. You can do your yoga, but you can't run. I'm like, what can I do? He goes, do weights. And I was like, weights? Anyway, that's when I started, but I would recommend everybody, if you're not already started, weight training. So sleep, hydration, weight training, and then of course, I know Natalie is going to speak to this, but of course, starting to look at your diet and eliminate those toxic triggers that not be bad for you, you know, on an everyday basis. I mean, on a once in a while basis, but if it's part of your everyday, then you need to start cleaning up your diet, because it will have a massive impact on the way that you go through menopause, the way that you support your body. So sugar,
Yeah.
alcohol, wheat, including anything that has gluten, dairy, and any sort of acidic producing foods. So this is a time, honestly, guys, that really you have to pay attention to you. So the last thing I'd want to say to that, I would add to that, so there's sleep, hydration, yoga, weight training, cleaning up your diet, doing, you know, cleaning up your diet with eliminating what I call the bad boys, but adding more protein to your meals. So that's another thing that happens as our estrogen levels drop, as our muscle mass starts to drop, the more protein, and this is newer scientific studies, okay? I wouldn't be talking about this to you 5 years ago, but this is newer scientific study, one that I've adopted in my life. It's a time to have more protein. So at least 20 grams of protein with each meal. So approximately 100 grams of protein in a day. And then finally, what I'd add to that is this is also a very important time for you to start being more, having a little bit more discretion about who you spend your time with. Because you
protect your energy.
Protect your energy. You can get super triggered by people. People can really, you know, you need to be around positive people who are uplifting you and challenging you, not pulling on your already extended energy. So those would be my real top, however many, those are top 10 lists of things to do.
Something that I was just reading about this morning in PubMed, because, you know, you see a lot of pop recommendations on social media. And whenever I see something being recommended on social media, I always go back to scientific journals. Like, where did it come from? Is there truth in it, or is it just somebody spewing some stuff? It's creatine. So when we're talking about cleaning up the diet, creatine is being shown to have significant changes in lean muscle mass in women, and also cognitive. It's improving cognitive function that starts to decline as our estrogen starts to fall. And we're looking at 5 grams a day on a day that we're doing the weight training, immediately after the workout. And then on the days that we're not weight training, pretty much at any time you want to take it. But creatine is showing, and there were numerous studies in men and women. So that's 100%. A good one.
That's something that I learned about later too in life. Like, I only think I started taking creatine a year ago or a year and a half ago. Game changing, and I wish I knew about it. And it is one of the most studied scientific proof. You know, there always were some little things about it could affect your liver, whatever. So creatine, what it does is it helps to support this process of gaining more muscle. So when you work out, it helps you with recovery, of gaining more muscle, you know, converting the muscle to more lean muscle mass. But what's the more recent studies is it really helps you with your brain. And that's another thing we haven't mentioned, is you just go like, what happened to my brain cells? Like, you can't even, you walk into a room and you're like, why did I come in here, right? You lose your brain cells when you're in menopause. Not fully, but you know, you feel so forgetful. So creatine really helps with that. Thank you, Natalie. I'm a big, huge
I'm actually just starting today. You said you started about a year ago. I'm starting today.
Very good. I love it. Right after exercise, and they say for the first, when well, this is what my protocol was when I first started using it, or if I come off it because I'm traveling or something and I forgot it or whatever, I will do 10 grams for 5 days, and that saturates the muscle.
Right.
And it's very helpful. I find that it really helps my brain too with focus.
So, you know, Sharon, you said,
Yeah, let us, we have a question here.
Oh, about the gynae.
Yeah, so you had talked about having a hormone tested, a doctor out here or whatever. So Nadine is asking, is there somebody out here in Jamaica who they can go and have those testing done so that we know what our levels are, so we know what to add and subtract? Do you know of anybody that you can?
Yeah, I love Dr. Winter. Dr. Sean Winter. Dr. Sean Winter. He delivered 2 of my 3 babies, and he's also a fertility expert and also very good with men, understanding hormonal balance with women. So I would start there.
Okay.
I would
And we also have a doctor coming on
Right, I was
next
gonna
week,
say.
Nadine. We actually have a gynecologist coming on next week, Monday, to
Great.
talk about
Mhm.
that, hormones, HRT, all those kind of things. So I'm sure she'll touch on that, so we can ask her as well, because she does hormone testing as well.
The doctor that I got my hormones tested with, and started HRT with is Daniel Baugh. So she's another option.
Okay.
Um, very good. And yeah, we can pop these people's names in the chat. And she's providing bioidentical, so it's compounded for me.
Yeah, good. And that's out here in Jamaica.
Yeah, well, we get the prescription. She sends a prescription overseas, and then it comes to my just landed account,
Okay.
and I clear it.
Well, that's an option.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about. Sorry, Nadine?
Sharon is actually my gynecologist, and I know Dania as well. I went to school with her, but and the Heart Institute. I know them both.
Oh,
Okay.
great. So you can get started with them.
Yes, thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
you're-
So we talked about yoga and all of that. Where's Sharon gone back again here? Where's she
I'm
gone?
right there.
Okay, there you are. So let's talk a little bit about meditation, because we touched on the mind a while ago, all over the place. So somebody who's never meditated before, has no clue where to start, it can be very overwhelming to, oh my God, I have to be lying there, and all of that stuff. And it can become a little bit intimidating.
Can't sit still.
No, can't sit still. We don't have 5 minutes to sit still. So how do you help somebody say, all right, I'm going to start. Let's do this. How do we start?
Let me tell you what, believe it or not, what got me, even though I'd been a yoga teacher for so long, I'm the same way. I could not sit still to meditate. I wanted to be a meditator. I saw myself doing it, but I could not do it. And what got me was I don't know if you remember when Oprah used to do the 21-day meditation challenges with Deepak Chopra, right? So they don't do them anymore, but I have 2 apps which you could write down. And Nikki, if you want, I could actually share a free link to the app that I got certified with. It's called Unplug, UNPLUG, Unplug meditation app. Personally, for me, I like to be guided. I want to put my earbuds in. I want to hear somebody guide me. I can sit now, many years later, in my own silence and follow my breath and have a very deep meditation experience. But when I was starting out, it was impossible. So the 2 meditation apps that I highly recommend are Unplug meditation and also Insight Timer.
That's the one I use. Yes.
Insight Timer. And there are many others. There's Headspace, and there's so many others, but for me, those are the ones that I love. And they all, like, for instance, Unplug, like this was May is Mental Health Month. So they have a 21-day or a monthly challenge, and it's 10 minutes every day. And I like to be challenged. I like to stick to things. I like to have somebody telling me what to do. And that really helps. So that is what I would suggest. Get yourself on an app that feels right to you and just start with a challenge.
Yeah, I think that's how I started. And I think it was through
Yeah.
Sharon recommending one of these, and that's how I started. I like to be able to, as you said, headphones, and now I've progressed to, I don't need the headphones anymore. I just love my time. So definitely agree with that. Love that.
And then after that, coming out of that, very often I will journal. So I'll just pick up my journal, which is beside my bed, and just spend 5 minutes just processing what may have come up. Because you'll be amazed at what comes up, right? So when we're not in a meditative state, we kind of, our mind just goes in all different directions. When we are meditating, we are actually stepping back from the mind. Remember, we are not our mind. We are not our thoughts. So we get into this place after a while, after really practicing meditation, where we're observing our thoughts. So we don't get involved. And you're observing, like, where the hell could that thought come from? Like what a crazy, random, stupid thought, or you catch yourself criticizing yourself or blaming yourself or blaming somebody else, and all the things that we do. And so it's a very fertile time when you come out of meditation to just pick up your journal and just process anything you may have witnessed come up in your mind.
I love
Very
that. Thought about doing
Never
journaling
thought about
after meditation.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to do it and then I stopped, but I really liked how I felt doing that
so
journal.
it
So
could be,
much comes up.
yeah. So if you just dedicate 15 minutes in the morning, but you have to be so disciplined. Like, my headphones are beside my bed, the journal is beside my bed. I quickly look and make sure there's nothing with my kids, headphones in, and I'm starting my day that way. And, when I look at my kids and when I look at all the young people, they're getting up and scrolling for like half an hour before they get out of bed every morning, putting everybody else's information into their head instead of themselves. I think Cecile had a question. Dion had a question.
Yeah. Yes, my darling.
Hi, that's okay, Sharon. I know you're going to call me Cecile, so that's fine. Just, just jumping onto what Sharon said, read the meditation, and this is something I learned from a session that
Oh no.
Yeah, we lost her. She was having internet issues last night and no one
I
would
was
show.
not part of the meditation from time. Are you hearing me? I think something.
Okay, you can do well there for a minute. Yeah, try again, Dion.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, I said, coming off of what Sharon just said in terms of meditation and using your journal, it's a practice I learned from Sharon herself when I was in one of her programs. And I still do it from time to time. I'm not as dedicated as I should be, but I do practice it. And I've created a little space in my living room. So as I get up, I go to that little space. I have my journal, I have my devotional books and everything right there. And I just sit down and I try, mind you, 5 minutes and 10 minutes is still hard for me to do because my mind is going all over the place. But at the end of it, especially when you journal afterwards, it's interesting to see what comes up when you start to write once you've completed your meditation session, and it really helps.
Yes. Thank you, Cecile. It's such a great way to process, And
Definitely. Yes. So, Sharon, we wanted to talk a little bit about what you and I had shared about a symptom that you have in menopause. And I know that some other ladies have had this. And as I said to you, it was funny how we'd never really heard about it before you had mentioned it. And then somebody else had it. So we'd love you to share your symptom of burning mouth syndrome and how that came about and what you have been able to do to navigate that, because that seems pretty intense.
yeah, I am one of the 1% of women in the world that got this thing. And I honestly think it was because I was just so extra burnt out when I was going through perimenopause. And it took, I'm not joking, I'm just turned 59. I started the same year I went into menopause at 50. I started to get this very strange burning tongue at the time. Just the middle of my tongue would be burning, like I scalded it on hot coffee. I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know. Maybe I did burn. I couldn't remember. Did I burn my mouth? Did I eat something weird? I don't know. And this persisted and persisted, and it wasn't going away. And I started to go to doctors. At first, I went back to my gynecologist. Could this be something to do with menopause? He had not Dr. Winter. I was away at the time. Somebody else, they didn't know what that was. I had no clue. I went to ENTs, ear, nose, and throat doctors. I went to gastroenterologists. Nobody could tell me. It wasn't till years later that I, research, found out about this condition that affects some menopausal women called burning mouth syndrome. And what it is basically is you wake up in the morning, you feel absolutely fine. You don't think about it. As you progress through the day, there's a sensation in your mouth. Well, mine started in my tongue, but then migrated like up into the roof of my mouth. And then when it would flare, which I realized happened when I went into a very stressful situation or was doing too much, it's actually, in its crazy way, been a blessing, because every time I'm doing too much or have too much going on, it will flare up and go to the roof of my mouth, down the back of my throat, and it is excruciating, painful, heartbreaking, because you don't really talk about it. It's like I'm only just beginning to talk about it because it was so, your tongue, like your vagina, is a private part of your body. You don't stick your tongue out to everybody. You don't stick your vagina out. You don't stick your boobs out, right? Hopefully not. So it was a very private thing, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was getting more and more depressed and more anxious, because I really thought it was something terribly wrong with me. And it is a strange syndrome. It's happening. So now I'm, fully immersed in it, and I support other women with it. But it is, if that is something that ever occurs to you, burning mouth, if you feel this in menopause, do all your research, tell your doctor. Normally it gets regulated. So if your hormones are out of whack and you go on bioidentical hormones, which I'm sure your doctor person will explain more about this, it's supposed to regulate or cure this symptom, but it has not for me. And so I've been experiencing it for 9 years, but there are women on my the forum that I'm a part of, the Burning Mouth Forum. They have experienced it for 18 years. Sometimes it spontaneously disappears, and so for me, it's has come to a place of self-acceptance, and I work with it. So I really keep my stress levels low. I be mindful about spicy foods, too much caffeine, alcohol. I know the things that aggravate it. But, there will be things, there some, menopause can bring up a lot of things that, add on top of everything that you're experiencing, right? Your sweats and your moods and your sleeplessness. And some of you may be experiencing weight gain. All those things that are so annoying, on top of it, you might get something else, And so that is why I'm such an advocate for these super important years between 40 to 50, that you learn radical self-care. You learn these practices like meditation, where you can actually become an observer of your life and see, what, I'm out of balance. I need to pull it back a little bit. I need a day off once a week. I need a yoga class twice a week. I need my meditation every day. It's like, put these practices in as early as possible so that you can really mitigate some of these conditions, because there's so many things that women are experiencing that came along with the menopause. Rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, immune conditions, all kinds of things. So the more you take care of yourself now, the easier it will be. So I hope that's helpful.
Sharon. Sure. Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were starting to speak, you said that you were experiencing weight gain when you were going through menopause as well. Did you say that?
I have a pretty thin body, right? And I exercise a lot. but it wasn't really weight gain. It was like this thing around the middle of my belly, like inflammation, I guess, around my midsection.
Okay, because I was gonna say you eat so well, and I only ever knew you as being thin, and I thought, oh my gosh, if you eat so well, what say the rest of us?
I was really, I will tell you that in that, you know, towards 48, 49, and 50, I was just overdoing it, like really overdoing it, and there was inflammation. But, you know, I really do want to talk about weight gain if there is a moment, because there is absolutely no reason why we need to accept that weight gain is a part of the process of menopause. And I truly believe that if we add our weight training, a minimum of 2 days a week and 3 days a week, and maintain our muscle mass so that our metabolism is firing more strongly, or like it did when we were in our 30s, and we are mindful about our nutrition and really moving towards more clean eating. I don't want to say detox, I don't want to say any of that, but cutting back on the sugars, the excess sugars and the carbs, the alcohol. You can have the body that you want. Please do not let anybody tell you, oh, you're past 45 now, you're going to gain 20 pounds and you're going to live with this for the rest of your life. No, I would not accept that.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for sharing that, Sharon, because I think a lot of women do. It's like, oh, we're here, so that we must accept all of the things that are happening, and we're just, it's on. No, that's just a load of baloney.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because you know, options.
And this is a time of your life where you want to look your hottest, okay? And
Absolutely.
So you better get into that damn gym and clean up your diet, because, you know, you don't want to be at 50 or 60 and say, oh my God, my life is over, you know, oh, I'll never be able to wear a bikini again, or I can't wear this because, I mean, no.
Yeah.
Don't accept that. If that's what happened to your mother, does not mean it happened to you. She didn't have all the tools. She didn't have all this research.
Yeah.
You can have the strongest, fittest body. I am stronger and fitter now at 59 than I was at 39. That is 100%.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think a lot of women are afraid to weight train because they don't want to look like a man. We are not going to look like a man. If you're getting into the gym 2 to 3 times a week for an hour, hour and a half, you are not going to look like a man. What you are also not going to look like are those little old ladies that you see walking around the place that actually can't stand up straight, because sarcopenia, which is the evil, nasty word that you spoke about, which is that muscle mass that we're losing over time. Sarcopenia is going to not just take away the muscles that look sexy, they're going to take away the muscles that allow us to stand upright, to bend down and pick up something from off the floor. 65% of women 60 and over cannot lift 10 pounds, pick up something from off the floor, reach overhead, or walk 10 blocks. That's a lot of women not being able to do some very basic things in life. So I underscore and support wholeheartedly.
That's why I really believe in functional fitness. So yes, you have your strength training 3 days a week, but in between that, things for flexibility and mobility and for keeping your spine erect. So yoga, Pilates, any kind of stretching, ballet, bar, whatever you can do, and then walking. And walking is such a wonderful tool for women, because I use my walks as my social time. I will literally make a date every evening of the week with a different woman to go on a walk. I call it my walk and talk. So it's a social. It's a chance to be outside in Mother Nature, which I didn't talk about, which is another massive healer for menopause, like spending time in Mother Nature, taking a day every week to go to the beach or go to the mountains, jump in a river, jump in the sea, you know, go in your garden. put your feet on the earth, get grounded. All these things are so vital for our well-being, menopause or not. But yeah, walking with other people is one of the most healing things that you can do. And
You know, as you said, in Jamaica, we have all of that here right outside of our door
Year round.
year round. So there's really no excuse why we shouldn't be doing it.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions before we ask Sharon to?
Leave us with a gift.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Sharon? If no, just pop them in the chat. Or open your mics. There's a few of us here, so we can do that. I don't see anybody asking.
No question, but just to add that I'm really finding this fascinating because I've been going through quite a few of those things, and I have been since I was 37, and I am now 61, and it has been a challenging time for me. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Anne.
Thanks, Anne. Appreciate that. So Sharon, before we ask you to give us sort of the gift, you're still doing your Wednesday yoga classes. I had mentioned that in my video because for women who just want something gentle to go into, you want to talk a little bit about that? Or are you going to expand?
Well, for now, every Wednesday I teach yoga in Kingston, in Jacks Hill. I have a little studio, fit about 18 people. And we have a great group of people who, we call it Wednesday self-care night. So they come, we practice yoga from 5:30 to 6:45, and then people go home. And that's a night where they will, really pay attention, have a healthy meal, turn their cell phones off at 8 o'clock, go to bed early. And it's just a wonderful kind of midweek, beautiful way to practice this radical self-care that I'm talking about. So you can find me on Instagram at Sharon Feanny, or I'm sure Nikki will share, when you send the replay, you can share a phone number and I can give more information.
Absolutely. And do you still do your online? Do you still have those available, your online classes, or did you stop those?
I have a package where you can buy, it's like a bunch of recorded classes, and they're divided into restorative yoga, more challenging yoga, specialty classes that I've taught. So it's $108. It's on Instagram. You just go into my bio there, and it's just a wonderful tool to have it at home or anytime you're traveling, or if you're new to yoga and you just want to do it at home by yourself at first to figure it out, it's all there.
And that's awesome, because when I started doing yoga with Sharon, was the start of COVID, and that's when you started doing them online. And nobody could go anywhere, you couldn't exercise, you couldn't do anything. So I jumped onto Sharon. I was like, okay, I got to do something at home, and that was where things shifted for me with the yoga and doing it online, because we couldn't go anywhere. So definitely, so it's on your Instagram page. They can get that package. Okay, great. So I will type that in the chat while Natalie asks for the gift.
So the gift. We would love, Sharon, if you could just take us through, it's 12:54. We want to respect people's time. So if you could take us maybe just through a 3-minute little meditation or a breathing exercise, or just leave us with something that we can hold on to, that we can take into our little worlds.
I love that.
Yes, you did one for us the other day, Sharon, that had me in tears. When I see tears, it was just such a releasing. I can't remember which one it was. We did it on our class together, but you do it for us.
All right, if you cry, that's beautiful. That's
what
All right, everyone. Well, let's do this. Find I don't know, everybody, wherever you are, find your most comfortable seated position. So if you're in a chair, you want to put your feet flat on the ground and press your lower back into the back of the chair. If you're in your bed, snuggle up to the back of the bed. If you're driving, do not close your eyes. And what's most important here is not only that you're very comfortable, but that your spine is tall. So take a moment to really lift up through the crown of the head, drop the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe we can do a couple neck rolls and just release any tension. Good. Relax the shoulders and just find really your most comfortable, sweet space. We say comfort is queen. So I have a little sort of, my little segue into meditation is I always bring my hands together. So you can bring your hands together now and rub them vigorously. So your hands are simply an extension of your heart. Good. So what we're saying to the body is let's come out of the mind, the brain, the thinking center, and come into the heart. Good. So feel that your hands getting nice and warm. Feel a little deepening of your breath. Good. And speed it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Now take your right hand, place it on your heart. Feel it nice and warm. Take your left hand on top of the right. And just allow your elbows to just melt down to the earth as if they had 20-pound weights on them. And at the same time, feel the crown of your head lifting up to the ceiling. Now, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And we're going to take 5 slow, deep breaths together. I'll guide you on the first 3, and then you'll do the last 2 on your own. So simply, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. Hold the breath in for a count of 4. Breathe out for a count of 4. And hold the breath out. So stay empty for a count of 4. This is called the box breath. So let's begin. Your eyes are closed. Breathing in through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowly exhaling through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. And staying empty for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Staying empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And stay empty for 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow it down. Breathing in through both nostrils for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowing the breath out through both nostrils for 1, 2, 3, 4. And holding the breath out for 1, 2, 3, 4. On your own now, breathing in for 4. Holding for 4, exhaling for 4, holding the breath out for 4. Just observe your breath coming into your body. Observe yourself holding the breath. Good. One more round with full awareness. When you finish that last round, you can just let your hands come down to your lap or onto your knees. Keep your eyes closed. Just allow all your awareness to drop out of the mind, the thinking center, and let it settle into the heart, the feeling center. And for the rest of this meditation, imagine that you're simply breathing in and out of your heart as if your heart had 2 little nostrils. And you're able to just breathe in and out of your heart. As you breathe in and out of your heart, take a moment to hear all the sounds around you. So bring awareness to your ears. And as you breathe in and out of your heart, just hear the sounds around you. Be someone in another room talking. Could be the breeze blowing. And see if you can open your inner ear and hear more distant sounds. Cars passing. No judging or labeling, just simply observing sound. Take a very big breath in. Exhale, let that go. And moving from sound, I'd like you to now pay attention to the surface of your body, your skin. Notice the skin on your forearms, the soles of your feet, the back of your neck, crown of your head. No judging or labeling, but simply observing the sensation of your skin. And then take another big breath in. And exhale and let that go. Now moving from sound to skin. Let's take it a little deeper inside. And I'd like to imagine that you're sitting on a rock next to a beautiful beach. And you're simply observing the waves coming and going. Picturing your waves as your thoughts. So observing your thoughts. So meditation is not the absence of thoughts. It's the ability to observe your thoughts. So observing your thoughts as they rise and fall, like the waves coming and going from the shore. And you're simply sitting on a rock, observing the thoughts coming from nowhere and disappearing somewhere. Again, no judging, no labeling, no getting involved in a thought, but simply being the observer of your thoughts. And then take another very, very big breath in. And let that go. And see if you can tap into that part of you, that deepest part of you, that was hearing sound, that was feeling sensations on your skin, that part of you that was witnessing thoughts. See if you can drop into that place of the observer, the witness, the part of you that doesn't judge or doesn't label, but simply is present with loving awareness. This, my friend, is your soul. This is the deepest part of you. See if you can take 3 sweet, slow, deep breaths into that deepest part of you, your soul. One more big breath in. Exhale it out. On the next inhale, let your chin drop to your chest, head to your heart. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring the hands together in prayer. Namaste. Slowly, slowly let your eyes flutter open. Just take a moment, let them flutter open. And just notice how you feel from just a few moments of intentional breathing
So
and
relaxed.
being of the observer, learning to observe sound, learning to observe skin, learning to observe your thoughts. Maybe you could put one word in the chat about how you feel. Or just open up your mic and just say, because it's so helpful for us to share how you feel from that.
Amazing.
Yeah, definitely am.
More
But if I
relaxed.
start like that, I'm not going to be able to go to work. I'm going to want to go back to bed.
Yeah,
Oh, you know, in the beginning, when you get to that place in meditation, you're gonna feel like sleepy because your body needs rest, and it's finally like, oh my God, I've kind of allowed myself to come down a few notches, and then you're like, oh, I'm so tired. You're like, yeah, you're tired. What can you do about it? You know, could you take a 15-minute nap right now? Could you just close everything down, lie in your bed, and just close the world out and just let your body go? This is the one of the many benefits of meditation, is that you really start to listen to the whispers of your soul and the whispers of your body, what it's trying to tell you.
That's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's definitely the way to start your day.
Because
Because we
it
don't,
just goes.
we're constantly on the go, moving,
Mhm.
doing whatever, we don't listen. So being able to start the day like that, Cher, is just like, we need that. We need an app on the phone to light us up and say, time to meditate.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Cher. So appreciate you jumping on here.
Thank
Because
you.
always such a treat.
Welcome, and I would love for those of you who are in Kingston to reach out and come to yoga with me once a week. And I do pop-up weekend classes too, but definitely every Wednesday. And yeah, lovely to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Awesome.
you. And thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate you
for
being
having
here.
us.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for taking your time at lunch to do this. So, yep. So we will see you ladies again next week, Monday.
Next week, Monday.
Next week, Monday, we'll be talking with Dr.
See you
Sharon
then.
about
Yes, sir.
HRT and options and stuff. So we'll see you there.
Tell your friends.
Definitely.
Let's spread the word.
Thanks so much, Cher. Lots of love to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yes. And